Alors, en abordant ce sujet dans votre roman, souhaitiez-vous alerter les lecteurs sur le danger, encore sous nos yeux, lorsque certains pays utilisent toujours l'énergie nucléaire?
Yeah, that's a big question. There's a journalist in Ireland. He's a radio journalist, and I remember him after one of the great atrocities. I think it was Fukushima, and he said that, well, they're telling us there's nothing to worry about, and he says that's the moment that I begin to worry. The thing about nuclear energy is that the idea of an acceptable minimum dosage, which we're told all the time, is actually untrue. It affects the human body in various ways in various people. So one person can be completely unaffected by radiation even in a reasonably large dose. Another person can have a tiny amount, and 15, 20 years later that can really emerge. And I've been to Chernobyl, and I've talked to, and I've been to families in the Ukraine and witnessed children of people who weren't even born at the time of the Chernobyl accident, and they have these immense deformities that really, to a non-expert, can really only be related to that situation. So I think the things that we're told about nuclear power aren't properly and fully examined, and it's a worrying, it's always been a worrying situation, and will continue.
Ce roman, il nous a particulièrement touchés, on l'a trouvé très humain. Et d'ailleurs, c'est en phase avec le titre du livre, tout ce qui est solide se dissout dans l'air. La promesse du titre, on la retrouve dans le roman. Nous sommes peu de choses finalement. Comment vous expliquez ce titre?
Yeah, so the title in English it's called "All That Is Solid Melts into Air," and this is a line from Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. And when you read, Karl Marx is, he's incredibly complicated in many of his ideas, but on a sentence level, sometimes he writes a really beautiful sentence, and it really struck me when I read it. It works on a few levels in the book. It works on when we're talking about matter, what happens in a nuclear explosion is that, but also in terms of the communist system, that the certainties that everybody had around the system, the faith that they had in the system, very quickly, within 2 or 3 years, became nothing. And so I think it's about the idea of the weakness of certainty, that all of our certainties at any point in time can just be blown in the wind.
Alors votre premier roman, dont on parle depuis tout à l'heure, Tout ce qui est solide se dissout dans l'air, reçoit un très bon accueil. Il y a des auteurs comme Darragh McKeon ou comme Tobin qui sont très élogieux à votre égard. Comment vous vivez cet accueil, et pourquoi, selon vous, ce roman touche autant de lecteurs?
So the praise from Colin McCann and Colin Tobin is getting praise from writers is a different thing than getting praise from critics or people who've read the book, because they kind of understand the process. They know how hard it is. It is a really hard thing to write a novel. Don DeLillo, who's an American novelist, he has a line that I like. He says the novel is a fucking killer, and I try and give it every respect. It can really, it's a really difficult thing to battle with. So to get praise from writers like that is really important, just on a personal level. Whatever about the industry, that's a very important thing to a young writer, and these people I respect. But with readers, I think I think that's really for readers to answer rather than me. But I recognize in a great novel, great novels have the ability to be intimate. And you can be intimate on a large scale, so it's always a conversation with one person. Even if 30,000 people or 300,000 people read the book, you're still speaking one-on-one to each individual.
Bon, j'imagine, après ce premier roman que vous continuez d'écrire, travaillez-vous sur votre prochain roman?
Yes, I'm still writing. I'm kind of going through a process now of learning that writing is also not writing, like taking the time to not write and kind of just soak in your ideas or soak in the world is also part of the process. And I think it's true for most first writers, but certainly for me, it's such a struggle to get your first book out, and you're endeavoring all the time, and I'm learning how to just try and be with it, actually, and let it relax a little bit. But yeah, I'm working on a second book. which I can't really talk about because I don't really know what it is yet. In this, I don't think it's necessarily starting from a theme in the same way that this one did. There's no central event that I'm going to build around. It's literally coming from the words on the page. I'm trying to just write words on the page and see what emerges.
Alors, on va terminer l'entretien, c'est la fin. Concernant tout ce qui est solide, se dissout dans l'air, c'est votre premier roman. Quel message pourriez-vous adresser à nos internautes pour leur donner justement envie de lire ce roman?
Well, I think I would say for me as a writer, I wrote a book that I would like to read, I think. And so, whether that was successful or not, or whether I would pick this book up if I hadn't written it, I don't know. But maybe that's the best recommendation I can give. I wrote something that wasn't completely internal. It was also, something that I would like to read. So I hope other people enjoy that experience or gain from that experience.
Darragh McKeon, merci beaucoup pour l'entretien, pour la fringale culturelle concernant votre premier roman, Tout ce qui est solide se dissout dans l'air, disponible aux éditions Belfond, actuellement en librairie. On invite les internautes qui nous ont suivis à devenir lecteurs. Un grand merci.
À vous aussi.